All right, this lesson is going to be about making stem and leaf plots and line plots. Stem and leaf plots are for large range data sets or data that are very spread out. If a data set has a whole spread out data from very small to very large, the stem and leaf plot really works well so that all those data get in there still, and you can still see the shape of the data. Um, the line plots fit better with things that you can make, um, like bar graphs or pictographs, many of the types of graphs that you've worked with in the past. We're also going to have a lot of those in the next lesson, just analyzing those and looking at those. But those would all fit together: bar graphs, line graphs, line plots, pictographs. But for when data gets really spread out, the stem and leaf plot is actually a really nice um, tool to use to graph the data. Line plots are for smaller range data sets, and an X is used for each data amount. Okay, so the first one is just make a line plot for the following data. So the first part you need for um, a line plot is obviously the line. So I'll go ahead and throw a line in here. You aren't going to need this little extra part I put here, that's for sure. Oh, I can't get rid of it either. All right, so the heights of the plants and the greenhouse are 5 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 2, 6, and so on. All right, so with a line plot, you're going to start with the amounts that you would need. I'm even going to put some that I don't need. I'll start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I can actually go through 10. The lines that you have on your notebook paper will work really well because your X should just fill in that one line for that um, in that space in between the lines on your notebook paper. I'm going to try and make my X's, and I'll explain that as I go here. So 0, there aren't any that are 0. Thankfully, the plant wouldn't have come up yet. There aren't any that are 1. So the first X that I'm going to put on the line graph, or the line plot, I should say, is right there at 2. There's not just one of them that's at 2. There's also another one right here that's at 2. So what I'm going to try and do now is make my X the same size. And again, if I was making a line plot on notebook paper, I'd have that X fill in that whole space. For each one of these would just be one line. All right. I don't see any of those that are 3 centimeters. So I still have it on my graph here. On my line plot, I just don't put any X's there. 4, I've got 1 here. I've also got another one. So that was 1, 2. Looks like I've got one more right here. 3. So you can see with my X's, I'm making them the same size. And then next, I'd like you to look at these next X's that I make. See why it's so nice to have it on notebook paper. 5 centimeters. If I made my X only this big, you can see that the amount of 4 and 5 is supposed to be the same, but it sure doesn't look like the same. The 4 looks way, way taller than the 5 does. So it's important if you don't have lines to make sure, like I don't here, it's important to make sure that your X's end up being the same size. If you do have lines on your notebook paper, obviously, like I've been saying over and over, make sure that your X just fills up that whole space in the line in your notebook paper. Okay, so I do it like that. Now you can see that 4 and 5 are the same. We do have a 6. There's another 6. I don't see any 7s. There are 2 8s. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Should have 12 X's. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So good, I've got an X for each one. Okay. These numbers stand for heights in centimeters. And the whole thing, the whole line plot is about plants, plant heights in the greenhouse. All right, so this is how you make a line plot, just step by step through there. All right, let's go on to stem and leaf plots then. Purposely made this data very spread out. It's not quite as spread out as you look at our temperatures in Minnesota. It'd be a good thing to make a stem and leaf plot for. Um, our temperatures in the winter can get well below 0, and our temperatures in the summer can get above 100 on certain days. So, looking at the temperatures in Minnesota, that would be a nice wide range of over 100 degrees, and it gets pretty spread out, and it would be a good stem and leaf plot also. All right, so this one I just made up some information about a lake, and looking at the water temperature in that lake, you can see that we go from 29 degrees all the way up to 70 degrees here. All right, so with a stem and leaf plot, it's supposed to look like I'll drop a little picture over here. It's supposed to look like a stem, like a flower, and you're supposed to have the leaves that are attached to it. So what they're focusing on is this part right here. You're going to have a stem, and then on it you're going to have leaves that will branch off from there. All right, so when you make a stem and leaf plot, you're going to start with in this case, the tens. So I'm going to have 20s, I'm going to have 30s, I'm going to have 40s, 50. Now, even if I didn't have 50s, I would just continue all the way until I had all of the tens digits that I needed. 50s, 60s, 70s, and I would just stop there then. But again, if there were no 60-degree temperatures, for instance, but there were 70-degree temperatures, I would just continue all the way through one by one, all until I got to the largest one that I needed. All right, so 29, 35. So this 5 right here, since it's in the 30s area, is a 35. 35. 41. And then I have a 48, and I'm just going to put that 8 right next to there. So this 1 stands for 41. This 8 stands for 48. 58, 67, 70, 63, 42, 36, 33, 31. So we have 1, 2, 3, well, January through December, so that's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've got them all on here. All right. I'm going to do it over again, and then I'm just going to put my leaves in order. Only one leaf here, so that's 29. These leaves go 1, 3, 6, 5. So 31, 33, 35, 36. So just putting them in order from least to greatest. Um, 41, 42, 48. Only one leaf here, that's 58, 63, 67, and 70. Put a title on it, water, temp, and lake. And it's nice to have a key with your 7-leaf plot. It doesn't even have to be a data amount. 3/9 means 39 degrees. All right, so there are two different types of plots, a stem and leaf plot and a line plot, and just showing how to organize that data.